Well, I'm here with Pete Murray, the CEO of PFL MMA, the Professional Fighters League. Pete, enormous things have happened since we spoke last live for talkSPORT. That you've set up a series of super fights. Obviously, you've acquired Bellator, and it's enabled you to put on some of the biggest fights we're ever going to see in the sport.
Yeah, no, we're really excited. Number one, thanks for being in D.C. with us. This is one of the company's biggest moments. You know, we've been talking about launching super fights for, the last year. You know, we signed Francis, and we got started with Francis developing PFL Africa. We launched that a month ago with Francis at the helm as our chairman, and now we follow that up with an incredible live moment yesterday with Jake Paul, Hainan, Francis, talking it up. And this is the biggest heavyweight MMA fight of the year, period. Francis is absolutely the #1 heavyweight fighter and champion in the world. Hainan is looking to, he's all about the future. And he's a PFL champion. He's a real threat. It's a big fight.
Is it not possible to even say that this is one of the biggest, certainly in terms of size of the men, the biggest heavyweight fights in MMA of all time, though? Because you've got a guy who left the UFC as the heavyweight champion, who went and fought the #2 and #3 in the world in boxing, has come back against Renan Ferreira as an absolute freak, 6'7", almost gymnastic, almost like a Tyson Fury in MMA. He's a freaky athlete. We haven't seen this kind of matchup, I don't think, in heavyweight fighting in MMA, maybe since the days of Fedor and K1.
I would agree. I mean, these guys are monsters, monsters. And, Francis, you heard from him yesterday, he's fighting with greater purpose. And this is an important fight for him. And same thing with Hainan. And, our team came up with a theme, Brace for Impact, and that's what this fight is going to be all about. We're super excited that it's going to be in Riyadh, October 19th, and we continue to stage the biggest events in KSA. To date, we've had 3 events in KSA, and we have PFL MENA. We'll have 2 more events with that regional league, and this event will be the 6th event for the year on the calendar in Saudi Arabia.
No one in mixed martial arts has expanded so quickly as you've done. You're very light on your feet in the way you've done it. Also, be remiss of me not to mention another legend you've got against a very formidable fighter who's already your champion, $1 million champion, Larissa Pacheco, against Chris Cyborg. I mean, this is a battle of female giants as well. They're beasts, both. I don't even call females beasts, but as fighters, they're both beasts.
As fighters, they are. I mean, listen, Chris Cyborg, she's the #1 all-time women's MMA fighter in the world, period. She's taken on boxing. She has other skills, and she holds 4 belts. Today, wherever she's been, she's captured and grabbed those belts, and deservingly so. And she wants this belt. This is a title fight with Larissa. Larissa, another fierce Brazilian, fighter, and this is the biggest fight of Larissa's career. She's actually a 2-time PFL champion in different weight classes.
Yes.
The 155 and 145. She's the only fighter in the PFL to ever do that in 2 different weight classes. So she continues to get better every time she steps into the cage. She's hard hitting. Her style is pretty unique. So I think this is going to be a massive fight, and great for women in sport and combat sports and MMA. Both of these athletes. We've been talking about this fight, not only, Francis and Hainan for some time.
Jake Paul was there yesterday. I did tell him that I'm looking forward to Mike Tyson knocking him out. He took it in the right way, and I said it'll be within 4 minutes. But he said 4 minutes is a very long time for a man his age. A lot of us from our generation don't want to see Mike Tyson getting beaten up by Jake Paul. Obviously, that's not part of your event. But is there any aspiration to get Jake Paul into the smart cage to have an MMA fight in the coming months or years?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're partners with Jake, and Jake will step into the cage in 2025. At least that's the plan right now. There are a number of different fighters who are lining up.
Go on, who is there
for that opportunity? I mean, hey, you heard from Diaz and
Masvidal
and that talk and Masvidal. There's a number of conversations going on, and hey, the good news is, Jake has options, we have options, and it'll be, his debut in MMA will be one of the largest pay-per-views in MMA. That's how we view it. I mean, Jake is dynamic. He has a massive global platform. He's blazed his own trail.
He's a marketing genius. There's no question about it.
In terms of a curator of content and conversation, and as an athlete in boxing, and then taking on MMA, he's really dynamic, and it's fun to watch, and it's polarizing, which is great. And so there's no lack of formidable opponents for that fight next year. So we're excited about 2025 as we continue to build our super fights.
As you say, the expansion that you've made over the last few years is incredible. I mean, I was there at the very beginning with you when you launched in Europe with Channel 4, if you remember that day. I think I hosted your press conference that day. But it's brilliant to have been on the journey with you. And it just seems to me that you make massive leaps all the time. It's like behind the scenes, there's always major things going on. You've got Middle East, North Africa. Europe is growing. When I look at the panoply around the world, obviously the United States, I don't think Canada is there at the moment, but I wonder if you're going to go there. But Francis Ngannou and Africa seems like a giant market that no one has yet tapped into in mixed martial arts.
Yeah, no, it's huge. We made our announcement in Lagos a month ago, just announcing the road to PFL Africa will officially launch in 2025. It was incredible.
Chaos in Cameroon.
It was chaos in Lagos, in Nigeria. Over 2,000 media, and to cover our announcement with our strategic partner Helios, and they're really we have a shared vision for developing and building the ecosystem of sport, including MMA, starting with the athletes and competition throughout the continent, and building the business that way authentically. And listen, Francis and many other athletes who in combat sports who are African and other sports, have had to leave their homes, their countries, their continent, to go elsewhere, whether it's Europe, whether it's the U.S. and elsewhere in the world, to become professional athletes, because the opportunity. There wasn't as many opportunities on the continent. So Francis gets to go back with the PFL and our partner Helios to develop the next generation of MMA champions.
Did you see a lot of hunger there? Did you see the hunger? Local heroes have got to be
on the stage. We had this guy Maxwell. He's on the card tonight. Cameroonian. And
the giant. I've met him. Yeah.
Big boy, and he's so passionate. And grateful, like these athletes are humble and grateful for the opportunity that they have with PFL Africa, representing, their countries. And it's very much, Francis has a phrase called "shake the flag," and very much that's the spirit of the PFL. That's the spirit of these international leagues, where these athletes are not only competing to become champions in these leagues and then have a path to the global season like Dakota, but they are representing their countries who want that respect and recognition, in this sport and on our platform. So, it's fun. But we announced 6 athletes from 5 different countries: Cameroon, Senegal, Nigeria, and others.
Congo.
All
they're
over
all
the
big
continent.
They're all big fight countries.
All over the continent, and you just see it in their eyes. They're deserving. They've been waiting for this for a long time. So we're excited to bring a new model, in sport, in combat sports, to different parts of the world, including Africa. And, we stand for something. And, we're a fighters first organization. We're there to support the fighters' journeys, and to do it in country with a localized product, with authenticity. It's amazing. So I'm really proud of, the team and what we've accomplished to date internationally, with Europe, as you mentioned, with the Middle East, now Africa. And what will follow is PFL Australia, PFL LATAM, and PFL Asia. In the next 2 years, we'll have 6 international leagues up and running. And what we are building and now implementing, not just an aspiration, is the Champions League of MMA. And it's a system. And we're in a sport where, system is lacking.
So you'll have champion on champion on champion. So you'll always be creating super fights, therefore,
Yeah,
won't you?
we're always developing the best talent in the world from around the world in their regions and giving them pathways to earn it, and not just through the matchmaking process. It's built on merit, and that's I think really that's what makes us different, and that's why athletes choose the PFL. We're about the future, and period. You look at, hey, Maxwell, this kid tonight. You see what Dakota has achieved in Europe and now on the global stage, and other fighters who are coming to the PFL. We're about the future.
Well, we're hoping that, I'm being biased here, but we're hoping that we're going to get a big fight between Chantel Dyer fairly soon, maybe next year against Dakota as well, because that looks like stylistically a super fight for us over there anyway.
No, I would agree. We're excited. We're in London, as you know. With Bellator, next month.
In a couple of weeks, yeah.
Yeah, then we're in Glasgow with PFL Europe, the playoffs. We've had a great year, in France. There's so much demand, 2 events, more to come. And, we're excited about, continued demand, for the sport. Europe, we're tapping it at the talent level, and from a fan interest standpoint, it's there. And then, the Middle East has been fun, and you see we actually, with just 2 events under our belt with PFL MENA, we're on NBC, the most visible platform throughout all of the Middle East. Our ratings in some cases are surpassing WWE as top watch programming, and other top sports on NBC. So it's starting to take hold as a new sport, and in Saudi Arabia. This is a home team, a home league, where we're based in KSA, and we have 2 great stars after just 2 events. Al-Qatani and Hatan, and women are part of the whole journey, and globally in the sport, in PFL, including PFL MENA. So it's been fun to watch and get behind all of our teams and the fighters.
Well, it's very exciting for us to watch and be involved with, and it's brilliant to be involved with you. We're on the journey with you at talkSPORT, and appreciate you for your time today.
Yeah, man, we appreciate talkSPORT, and I look forward to seeing you in London as well.
Thank you very much
after tonight.
Thank you, Pete Murray.